Hey everyone, welcome to Soap Trend. We hope that everybody is doing well. We have some exciting news to share with you all in today's video. In this video, we present you with the review of Heartland Season 14 Episode 4. This episode of Heartland was just as explosive as it promised to be, filled with uncertainty, panic, and a possible disaster. Despite all that, it also had a lot of heartfelt moments. It definitely felt more like a mini movie rather than just one Heartland episode. Want to know what happened in this episode? Let's get started. As we saw at the very end of episode 3, there was an explosion near Heartland Ranch. This episode didn't waste any time letting us know what exactly that explosion was. The opening shots of the episode showed a train off its track and a fire burning all around it. So we quickly realized that just how serious the situation is. Tim was the first one on the scene since he was driving to Hudson and the explosion happened right in front of his eyes. He quickly informed his family as to what had happened. It got everyone moving real fast. Lou went to her office to figure out how to deal with the disaster, and Peter was with her for moral support. Amy went to the rodeo grounds to get Howler and the rest of the horses stabled there, while Jack went to find Parker, and Lisa held down the fort with Katie and Lyndy at the ranch. As Hudson's mayor, Lou had one of the most important jobs to inform the public about what is happening, and do so in a manner that won't panic them. They called the town's council and set up at Maggie's to monitor everything from there since it would give them a chance to be close to the community and reassure them that everything's going to be fine. Once at Maggie's, Lou and Rick's opinion as to how to handle the situation varied, especially when it came to asking for help from private emergency services and just what to tell Hudson's residents about the severity of the accident. Peter offered to call his friend at the nearby oil company, Middleton Oil, who have their own fire crew, to see if they could lend a hand. But Rick advised Lou against it, since calling a big oil company for help would cost Hudson a fortune. It became clear that this disaster is more than just a wildfire. They found out that there was a chlorine in one of the tankers, and if the fire reached that tank, it would blow and release a lethal cloud of gas in the air. Lou threw all the caution to the wind and decided to call Middleton. After all, people's lives were more important than money. Lou let the people of Hudson know just how serious the situation is, and they listened. Hudson was quickly emptying out and people were well on their way out of 10-mile radius around the disaster site. Fortunately, the additional emergency crews for neighboring towns and 3 oil companies arrived, and they managed to put out the fire near the tanker, which meant the threat was neutralized and everyone could return to their homes safe and sound. Amy was at the rodeo ground trying to save the horses trapped there, including Howler. Amy met Lily, who was there to get Howler out. Amy quickly realized that the only way to get Howler and the rest of the horses out is to let them free and lead them to the nearby river. Since she didn't have a horse trailer with her, she asked Lily to drive away in her car so Amy could track up one of the pony horses and push the rest of them towards the creek. At first, it seemed like Lily was listening to her daughter-in-law. Halfway out of the rodeo grounds, Lily turned back around and went back. Amy was in danger and Lily wanted to help. They had to not only wrangle a herd of riding horses, but also work through thick smoke and do it quickly because the fire was getting closer and closer. Once they got near to the river, there was a gate that the horses had to go through, which spooked Howler, and he took off towards the fire. Amy went after Howler after asking Lily to stay with the other horses, but Lily didn't listen again and went after Amy. The two worked together and got a loop around Howler, so Amy could lead him back to the rest of the horses. However, Lily, being a less experienced rider, got turned around in the thick smoke and accidentally rode into a tree branch. that landed her on the ground. The horse Lily was riding ran back to the rest of the herd once Lily got knocked off. So Amy knew something was wrong. And then she saw Ty in the smoke, who led her to Lily lying on the ground, struggling to breathe. It looked like Lily was giving up because she wanted Amy to save herself. However, Amy wasn't giving up on her mother-in-law. She managed to get Lily upright and walk her back to the rest of the horses. And just as Amy and Lily were preparing to get back on their horses and go towards the river, Tim came out of the smoke. He went back to the rodeo ground to find Amy after helping the firefighters figure out what was in that tanker. But once he saw that all of the horses were gone and heard them in the distance, he followed the sound, which led him to Amy and Lily. In the end, the three of them managed to get all the horses to the river. Tim even managed to arrange a transport to come pick them up, so everybody was safe and unharmed. The episode ended with Amy and Lily on good terms, being there for each other and supporting each other through their shared loss. Amy and Lily weren't the only ones who ended the episode in a good place. At the end, Lou and Amy had a talk, during which Lou admitted that she hasn't been a good sister to Amy. Since Amy forgave Lou, she told Amy that Mitch asked her to marry him. Amy took the news like a champ, telling Lou how happy she is for Lou and Mitch. Similarly, Jack was in search of Parker, who ran off to walk Mickey in the woods shortly before the explosion. The loud noise from the explosion spooked Mickey, and the horse ran off, leaving Parker wandering through the woods and searching for him. Jack knew he had to go find Parker. Fortunately, Jack managed to find her and convince her to get on his horse so they could ride back to the ranch and get out of there. But it wasn't easy. Parker didn't want to leave Mickey in the woods, but she reluctantly agreed after Jack explained the situation to Parker. She had googled what would happen if the chlorine exploded, so she begged Jack to take the Heartland horses with them. Jack wanted to get on the road and get Parker as far away from the accident site as possible. However, Parker wasn't having it. So Jack finally agreed to get the trailer and take all of their own horses with them as well. Once that was done, and Jack reassured Parker that there isn't anything that drives people or horses away from her, the two were on the road to Okotoks. But just as they were leaving Heartland, they saw Mickey running towards them. So they stopped, got Mickey loaded up in the trailer with the rest of the horses, and were on their way to safety. When they were back at the ranch, Jack apologized to Parker for yelling at her when they were installing the solar panels. Parker also said sorry for not listening to Jack earlier. The two were on good terms again. So this much for today's video. We hope you liked it. We will deliver more news of Heartland as it comes in. We will have all the burning Heartland spoilers, updates and news you're looking for. So visit us regularly. Thank you for checking this video out. We will see each other very soon with another video. If you like this video, give us a like and subscribe to our channel for new videos every day. If you have anything to say, do let us know in the comment section below. We'll make sure to reply to your comments.